So after General Mark Milley's testimony on the critical race theory and trying to understand white rage, I hope you've seen the video. If you haven't, I implore you to watch it. This video isn't about that, but it's about the response. So the right has come out in droves with their criticisms of him, and they are actually calling to defund the military, and I'll get into that in this video. But I want to play for you a clip of Joy Reid and Representative Chrissy Haluhan, I don't know if I said that right, discussing the backlash to this, and they're giving their take on it. Take a look at this.
Representative Houlihan, I guess that I'll throw it to you. Are Democrats prepared to go out there and explain to voters that it's Republicans who now want to defund the military? They tried to use defund the police, which is, by the way, DOA as a thing, right? Look at New York City, where they just elected the most pro-cop person to be mayor, or at least they're close to it. That's not a thing. Defund the military is a thing. They're saying it on Fox.
Yeah, and I want to back all the way up because I hadn't seen those tweets that you referred to about the Viet Cong, and I'm literally nauseous. My father fought in Vietnam, my grandfather in Korea. The idea that we can be trolling and not understanding the consequences of this. One of the things that struck me about General Milley's testimony yesterday was a continued reminder that from him that not just the people in that room are listening to the things that we're saying, and not just the people who are watching Fox News or this show are listening. When we're talking about defunding the military, the very thing that allows us to be the people we are, say the things that we're saying, and to be the nation that we are and the democracy that we are, other people are listening. Our enemies are listening. And I think what's remarkable about the Democratic Party right now is that we get it. We get it. Certainly much more than the Republican Party does right now. Yeah. And it's an important differentiation and distinction that we need to be making.
So for those of you that aren't aware, General Mark Milley gave a testimony where he basically said, he wants to understand white rage. He wants to know why, white people feel the way that they do and do the things that they do. He explained how he likes to look at things from different avenues, I guess. He reads Karl Marx. He reads many other different very critical philosophers and authors of numerous publications and what have you. But the right came out. Of course, they didn't like what he had to say. Now, my opinion on what he had to say, I thought it was pretty thoughtful. I have my critiques of General Mark Milley, but those won't be stated in this video. But the right hated it because he didn't conform, and it wasn't subjugation, and he didn't go rah rah, team Republican. That isn't what he said. And if you don't say that, they pounce. If you deviate from their line of where they want you to walk, they lose their fucking minds. And this is Joy Reid and Representative Chrissy Haluhan giving their response to it. So notice the angle that they're taking here, and this is incredible. This is incredible. The angle that they're taking here is, the Democrats now have ammo because the Republicans are coming out in response to what General Mark Milley says, and they're saying to defund the military. And the Republicans are saying that Democrats want to defund the police, when in fact, the Democrats don't want to defund the police. So the Democrats can use this as a line of attack to tell the American people, hey, the Republicans want to defund the military. We don't. Vote for us. Fucking idiots. Idiots these people are. And Representative Chrissy says there, our military is the reason we're able to sleep at night and talk to our friends. Our enemies are listening. What fucking enemies? Okay. So we have the largest military budget in the world by far and away. Our military budget is larger than the next 10 countries combined, most of which are our allies. If we cut our military budget in half, we would still have the largest military budget by far and away in the world. If we cut it in half, is China gonna invade Texas? Is San Francisco gonna get bombed by North Korea? Is Russia gonna send caravans to Seattle? What the fuck is gonna happen if we defund our military? If we take away funds from the military? Please explain to me. I'm so confused. Are we going to get hit with an air raid from China? These people are so insanely hyperbolic. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this is why I hate corporate media. Look at how they frame things. Look at the certain emphasis that they put on certain sentences and words. They want you to believe certain narratives and conform to certain beliefs. That's what they want you to do. They want to change, or not necessarily change, but mold your way of thinking. And there's nothing to combat this. Or there is, but it isn't as powerful. Look, in terms of the policy names themselves, defund the police, defund the military, if you poll either one of them, they're going to be unpopular. Okay, if you ask the American people, they're going to be unpopular. But that's just because of the name. Defund, a lot of people associate that with cancel or get rid of. You know, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. You know, defund the police isn't a popular thing, which is why nobody is for it. There's only one elected official that I think actually is for it, and that's Cori Bush. Okay, but her reasonings are extremely reasonable. Okay, essentially what it is you just want to take money away from this specific entity and put it in other places where it will prove to be more fruitful. Our police budgets and military budgets are insanely bloated, and they need to be cut. In fact, cut is a much better way to put it, or decrease, or like anything else other than defund. You'd have a much better time, making the argument for it. But it is true that both of those things should definitely happen, and the results would prove to be very favorable. But their reasoning, both of their reasonings, Joy Reid here and then the Republicans elsewhere, for arriving at their respective conclusions is completely insane. Guys, they're saying that, oh, well, the Republicans are saying that Democrats want to defund the police. That they don't actually want to do that, but the Republicans do want to defund the military. I got news for you. Defunding the military is a good thing. It is. We should take money away from the military. Why are we feeding the military so much dough when the people at home are struggling? I mean, people are struggling to pay the rent, put food on the table. People don't have adequate health care. We're still not paying our workers a living wage. I mean, what's going on here? And the fact that the Republicans, or at least some of them right now, have arrived at the position of defunding the military because Mark Wiley supposedly wants to understand critical race theory and he wants it taught to, his soldiers, and he has a seemingly open mind to things. That's absolutely ridiculous on their part. You don't want to defund the military because we're committing atrocities in foreign nations, that we're occupying sovereign countries illegally, that we're committing war crimes on a normal Tuesday and Thursday. Okay? Nah, you don't want to defund the military because of that. You want to defund the military because you're pissed off that General Mark Miley didn't conform to your ideology. That's absolutely asinine in and of itself. And the response to that, in my opinion, is even worse. It's even worse. Oh, well, they want to defund the military, but we don't. We want to give the military more money so they can go out and commit more war crimes in your name with your tax dollars. Absolutely ridiculous. Our enemies are listening. Jesus Christ. It doesn't end, does it? It doesn't end. As if we take money away from our military, we're instantly going to get raided by Chinese caravans or something. Words can't describe how awful that segment was. It's truly ridiculous. And it really shows you how much they know about politics and how out of touch they are, and how not in tune they are with what the American people want. They think that saying that they don't want to defund the military is a good argument. Notice how they're not leaning into healthcare. Notice how they're not leaning into wages. Notice how they're not pro-union to try to get the voters on their side. It's no, we don't want to defund the military. The Republicans do. That's Joy Reid's line of attack here, and Chrissy Holohan's line of attack here. What an awful response to that entire situation.